plan to take first. In the first place, we plan to continue the line on foreign policy and, I would even say, on internal policy, domestic policy that the current leadership has undertaken. I mean the President of the Soviet Union and the President of Russia and the 9+1 republics. The main task is leading the country out of the most profound crisis that it has found itself in, and to cure the deep wounds that were inflicted by the coup. What three words would you describe your work with to peacefully move into the civilized world? You can see the entire interview with Mr. Puntkin on tomorrow's morning program. I think we should pay attention to the people who were the first to oppose totalitarianism. I met Mr. Dubček, who led the events of 1968 in Czechoslovakia at this celebration of its anniversary. The problems of the Soviet Union are extremely complicated. Your national, ethnic relations, economic issues, and they are all coming out now. The reason is obvious. You needed democracy and pluralism much earlier. And your foreign policy should be directed toward not only your own people, but on integration into the European community. British Prime Minister John Major is in Kennebunkport, Maine, with the U.S. President Bush, who is on holiday there. They are discussing questions of economic assistance to the USSR and the possibility of recognizing the Baltic republics. I think we can expect a decision on this issue in the near future. The foreign ministers of the G7 group of nations met to discuss the new situation in the Soviet Union, which has arisen as a result of the failure of the coup attempt. You have just seen a videotape of the meeting between the foreign ministers of Germany and Poland. It was noted that democracy can be achieved only with the common efforts of the entire continent. The issue of economic assistance to Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union was also discussed. The President of Serbia, Slobodan Milosevic, said at a meeting with French President Mitterrand that Serbia will study the peaceful methods of resolving crisis. Iraq has agreed to return to Kuwait all of its prisoners through the Red Cross. Iraq has already transferred 6,320 prisoners back to Kuwait who were captured during the occupation. 2 Soviet fighters, MiG-29s, and the Ilyushin 76 transport plane arrived in the United States today. We remind you that they were supposed to get there on August 19th, but they were expelled by the United States as an act of protest to the coup d'etat. And this is Berlin. There is an enormous scandal in this popular clinic here. The latest issue of Spiegel magazine reports that for many years, state security forces of the former East German government participated in illegal activities here, including removing organs for transplant from live patients, thereby, for all practical purposes, killing them. Today, a funeral was held for the former presidential advisor and former military commander Marshal Akhrameyev, who committed suicide. The organizers of the funeral said that it would be a normal civilian burial. The ship Dervish 91 continues its journey through the Barents Sea. Ships are proceeding closer and closer to their meeting with the caravan of English ships to mark the anniversary of a similar event during the Second World War. The participants of that convoy say that many times they had to pass through extremely dangerous situations. The battle was reenacted with submarines and airplanes of the enemy. And this was more than a celebration, it was also a military exercise. One of the newest ships in the fleet was a participant in the convoy. After 2 days of sailing, the Soviet and English ships finally met. Congratulatory telegrams arrived to the crewmen from Russian President Boris Yeltsin. There were 6 transport ships from the Murmansk fleet. The course was 106 degrees, the direction, the destination, Murmansk. We took these pictures as the caravan arrived in Murmansk. And more about the changes in the Soviet television and radio broadcasting company. Today it's Mr. Valentin Lazuchkin was chosen as deputy chairman, deputies to his chairman, along with Mr. Tupikin. We hope they will take considered and balanced decisions. That's all for me. Good luck to you all. Hello, comrades. Our sports report begins with hockey. The teams in Canada are playing exhibition matches so far. The Soviet team lost to Finland 5-2, and the American team was victorious. In the soccer championships, this was one of the most important matches between the Soviet and Norwegian teams. The Soviet team rarely had shots on goal. The advantage seemed to be in favor of the home team, but thanks to great defense by the Soviet team, no goals were scored, and the Soviets counted more on counterattack, which finally produced results, as Mr. Sharimov gets a pass and passes to Baskalonov, who scores the goals, the only and very important goal of the match. One more time. And so the Soviet team is in the lead in the tournament with 9 points. The Norwegian team is left in second place, in Italy in third. Stefan Pletik has won the shooting championships in Munich. The president of the International Olympic Committee has declared at a press conference in Tokyo that the issue of recognizing the independent Olympic committees of the Baltic republics, which have withdrawn from the Soviet Union, will be discussed at the International Olympic Committee Congress in Berlin. And now the most important event of the week, the World Track and Field Championships in Tokyo. Sergei Bubka from Donetsk retained his title as world high jump pole